Okay, so OpenAI and Broadcom just shipped a chip called Jalapeño, and it's a direct shot at Nvidia's margin. They unveiled it on June 24th, a custom Inference ASIC on TSMC's 3 nanometer process, claiming 50% lower cost per token than Nvidia GPUs. The thesis for this video: the era of one-size-fits-all AI hardware is ending, and every serious lab is now a silicon company whether they want it to be or not. Here's the backdrop. Nvidia holds 74% of the AI chip market. That number is the entire story. It's why margins are what they are, why supply is tight, and why every hyperscaler has been quietly recruiting hardware teams for 2 years. Jalapeño is the first time OpenAI has a co-designed part with its name on the box. And they're not alone. Anthropic is in early talks with Samsung to manufacture custom silicon on a 2 nanometer process, and they hired Clive Chan, the former OpenAI hardware lead, to run the project. 2 labs, 2 foundries, 1 problem. Let's talk about what Jalapeño actually is. It's an inference ASIC, not a training chip. That distinction matters. Training workloads are messy, research-driven, and reward general-purpose GPUs. Inference at OpenAI's scale is the opposite. A small number of model architectures running billions of times, where every watt and every millisecond compounds into real money. A chip designed for exactly that workload can strip out the parts a GPU carries for everyone else. That's where the 50% cost per token number comes from, if it holds up in production. Now, the Anthropic-Samsung angle. Samsung's 2 nanometer node is a generation ahead of the 3 nanometer part Jalapeño is on. That's aggressive. It also signals Anthropic isn't trying to catch up to OpenAI's chip. They're trying to leapfrog it on the next node. Hiring Clive Chan is the tell. You don't poach the person who ran the other lab's silicon program unless you're building the same thing, one step further out. Worth knowing, these are early talks, not a signed deal. Here's the catch. Custom silicon is a 5-year commitment on a field that rewrites itself every 18 months. If the dominant model architecture shifts, say, away from dense transformers toward something Jalapeño wasn't co-designed for, that 50% advantage narrows fast. Nvidia's whole pitch is flexibility. Whatever you invent next, a GPU will run it. OpenAI and Anthropic are betting their architectures are stable enough to bake into hardware. That's a real bet, not a hedge. Stepping back for a second, this is the pattern. Google has TPUs, Amazon has Trainium and Inferentia. OpenAI now has Jalapeño. Anthropic is on deck with Samsung. The default assumption that AI infrastructure means Nvidia GPUs in a rented data center is quietly being replaced by lab-specific silicon on lab-specific stacks. If you are building on these APIs, the hardware your tokens run on next year is not the hardware they run on today. The concrete thing to watch: pricing. If Jalapeño's 50% cost claim is real, OpenAI has room to cut inference prices without touching margin. Watch the next API price update. That's where you'll see whether this chip is a press release or a product. That's what I've got on this one. If you think the custom silicon push is a real shift or just a hedge, tell me in the comments. See you in the next one.